All right, I'm going to pray for Anderson's speech. All right, I'm going to pray for Anderson's speech. God, I pray that you give Anderson a clear mind with his speech and that everything goes well and that you bring back to remembrance what he practiced. In Jesus' name, amen.
How many of you here have a dog? Okay, I would say a lot of you. Am I right? Alright. So, well, I'm sure that you think of your dog as part of your family. You really love your dogs and you treat them right. Now I want you to imagine how much you do love your dogs. When I said the word dog, most of you probably thought of a cute puppy or a happy dog playing with its owners. However, I can assure you that very few people in this room immediately imagined a starved, beaten, and tortured dog. No one thought of a dog that is missing its limbs or eyes. No one thought of a dog who was abandoned and left for dead by his owners. This is what I see in my mind. This image is what many dogs have faced at the hands of despicable and evil human beings. This is what many dogs face in just the state of Michigan. Where is the hope for these dogs? Is there any hope for these dogs? Good morning. My name is Anderson Daw, and today I will be telling you about the amazing work that rescue groups do for dogs. Dog rescue organizations have many different aspects within them. The work that they do is vast. The three main aspects of dog rescue organizations that I will be sharing with you today are finding and rescuing abused and abandoned dogs, providing medical care and rehabilitation, and facilitating foster care and adoption. The first step of dog rescue is to find and rescue abused and neglected dogs. There are several ways that dog rescue organizations can find dogs in need. These ways can include receiving a call from someone who sees a problem, having someone bring a dog to the rescue, or sending workers from the rescue to go out and look for dogs. Most rescue organizations are focused on a particular breed of dog, like the Midwest Boston Terrier Rescue, which focuses on the rescuing of Boston Terriers, or the Buster Foundation, focusing on the rescue of pit bulls. For every rescue to rescue dogs, they need people to work with them. Many of these people who go out and find dogs are volunteers. The process of becoming a volunteer can vary depending upon the organization. The job of most of these volunteers is to go out and rescue dogs. The process for finding and rescuing dogs has multiple steps, and each step must be followed for safety. One area where dog rescue is needed the most is in the dog fighting realm. Many pit bulls are forced to fight one another, often to the death. Other times, dogs are abandoned by their owners and starved. Often, dog rescue organizations will find strays. For a dog rescue to legally take custody of a stray or any other dog, there is a the dog must be surrendered. With strays, they are usually held for 5 to 10 days, as the rescue looks for the owner by showing the dog anywhere that they can. If the owner claims the dog with proof, then the dog is surrendered back to its owner. If nobody claims the dog within 5 to 10 days, the dog is set up for adoption. When a dog is rescued, a surrender form is filled out by the dog's owners, so that the dog is signed over to the rescue legally. Whenever a dog is rescued, the rescue organization will generally scan the dog for a microchip. Most times, a dog rescue organization finds dogs by getting a phone call from someone who found a dog, or who sees a problem, or wants to surrender their dog for various reasons. Sometimes dogs are found on the street by a rescue organization's volunteers. The places most common to find dogs in need are abandoned in the city, people who got a puppy and didn't realize how much work it is to have one, and people who start a family and the dog no longer fits in. When the rescue organization finds a dog or is informed of one, there are things that must be done to prepare to rescue the dog. Rachel Johns, one of my interviews from the Buster Foundation, stated, quote, "We like to have fosters on standby so that we can take the dog in. We also have a vet on our board in case any medical questions arise. We also have trainers in the case of an aggressive dog needing assistance. Other than that, we also must ensure that we take a crate, treats, maybe a blanket, a leash, and a collar to obtain the dog. Once the rescuer is ready, they will go out to the last reported sighting of the dog. When they get there, they will look for the dog first. After finding the dog, many rescuers will have specialized techniques that they use to rescue the animal. These techniques will often be slightly different. However, the one step that seems consistent in almost every single one of these is to gain the dog's trust. It is very important to talk to the dog in a soft and slow manner. My mentor, Diane Beck, told me that being vulnerable shows them that you are not out to hurt them. It can show them that you can be trusted. An example of a unique method for getting trust that my mentor has is that, quote, I will even lay on the ground to show them that I am harmless. I get to their level or below their level. It shows them that you are not a threat. Both Rachel Johns and Diane were clear that when attempting to approach a dog and rescue it, one of the most important things is to never look the dog in the eyes. Diane told me, it's like if I were to just sit here and stare at all of you. It makes you feel intimidated, am I right? It's exactly how the dog feels. It's the exact same. These techniques are universal for rescuing dogs. However, not every dog is the same. In fact, some of the dogs that dog rescues will find are aggressive. Most rescuers will handle these dogs using time-tested techniques. If a dog is acting aggressive, the best thing to do is to stay back and contact someone with experience with aggressive dogs. There are numerous methods that can be applied when dealing with an aggressive animal. Using a slip pull can be very helpful with this. As indicated earlier, it is best to try and gain the dog's trust. However, if it is not working and there is no progress, it is best to try another method. The thing many rescuers have found effective is getting a collar and a leash on the dog. This will often make the dog much more calm. It can help the dog to stop worrying about and being afraid because someone else is in control, and the dog no longer must worry about everything. When dealing with an aggressive dog, avoiding eye contact, turning to the side, and staying calm are all essential to, while approaching, are all extremely important to rescuing it. When a rescuer finds the dogs are almost always going to growl or bark at the person. That's because they do not know who this is. This does not necessarily mean that the dog is aggressive. In fact, most of the time, the dog will just be afraid. Keeping the body low and staying calm are both important to rescuing aggressive dogs. When the rescuer first approaches a dog, reading the body language of it will often tell if the dog is truly aggressive or just afraid. After gaining the dog's trust, the next step of the rescue process is to provide medical care. When a dog is rescued, there are usually common medical needs that it may have. These needs can include worms, infection, fleas, ticks, etc. These medical needs can be taken care of by a veterinarian. This can usually be done as soon as the dog is rescued. However, sometimes the dogs can be found with other serious and more immediate medical needs. Before I go on, I would like to issue a trigger warning. The next session involves animal abuse, cruelty, and the images may be disturbing. These severe injuries can include malnourishment, scars, broken limbs or ribs, missing teeth, severe bruises, and scarring from being beaten by their owners, and many more abhorrent things. I need to stop here and tell you that this idea truly saddens me. I cannot personally imagine anyone doing this to such loving and amazing animals. However, this happens to so many dogs. This is a real issue. When a case like this happens, the dog may be extremely fearful and may become aggressive. The rescuer must be quick to get the dog to an emergency vet care. In the case of pit bulls being used for illegal fighting, dog fighting, some have been pulled behind cars to build their stamina, causing their necks to become scarred from heavy logging chains and collars. Many pit bulls will lose eyes, limbs, and lips in their fights. It is difficult to tell if these dogs, generally the victors of these fights, were given a better fate than those who were killed within them. The dogs who lost the fights were typically hung, drowned, or electrocuted by their abusers, if they survived. Many of the fighting dogs were raised in isolated areas, tied to a tree or an axe buried in the ground. The only interactions with other living beings are with their abuser or when they fight another dog. When a dog is rescued, they are typically found abused or abandoned. When a dog is found chained up and starved, it is easy to see that someone owns this dog and they are just choosing to abuse it. Other times, a dog will be chained up and left wherever, abandoned by their owner. In either scenario, the dog is abandoned to fend for itself. Abandoned and left to fend for itself. Some forms of abandonment are more common in certain places. In rural areas, dogs are frequently just dumped by their owners and left to fend for themselves. This practice takes advantage of and abuses one of the most common traits found in every dog, their loyalty. When a person dumps a dog on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, the dog has no idea they are being abandoned. You can't just explain this to a dog. This is because dogs are loyal to their owners. So if a dog is left somewhere and their owner leaves them, the dog will imagine or assume that their owner will be back to come and pick them up. This is never the case. This is abusing the dog's loyalty. This is despicable. Many people who experience rescuing dogs will agree that the hardest part about rescuing any dog is knowing that someone could abuse or abandon dogs like this. It makes many people lose their hope for humanity. The truth is that when a dog is rescued, many times that is the first person that will show them love. Genesis 1:30 states, "And to all the beasts of the earth and all the birds in the sky and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has breath in it, I give every green plant for food." When a dog is rescued, there is always some level of mental and physical trauma to them. Being abandoned and abused by their owners takes a massive emotional and mental toll on a rescue dog. This can lead to behavioral issues, post-traumatic stress, anxiety, aggression, and many other issues. Rehabilitation for a rescue dog is a long and uncertain process. In the case of fighting dogs, there may be a psychological evaluation to determine if this dog can be saved. This exam is typically a life or death deal for the dogs. Because a fighting dog that cannot be helped must be euthanized. The other aspect of rehabilitation for rescue dogs is the physical and medical rehab. Many dogs who are abused will have broken limbs, ribs, scars, bruises, and numerous other physical trauma. Most dog rescue groups will have either a veterinarian on their staff or are affiliated with one. This is extremely helpful for getting the dogs the medical care that they need. For the rescue to fund the medical needs, there must be money. Many rescues can hold fundraising events to raise money for them. The many physical horrors that can be inflicted upon these dogs are numerous. The rescuers see the state of many of these dogs, and there is a fear and a sadness that comes over them. These rescuers are faced with the realization that humans are capable of such evil acts against innocent animals. When a dog comes to a rescue, there is usually mental trauma for them. There are many types of trauma these dogs will suffer from, including post-traumatic stress, anxiety, aggression, poor socialization, issues with training, fear, and many others. If a dog is abused and chained outside, there are many things that the dog has been limited from doing. Tethered dogs are at more risks of strangling or hanging themselves with their own tethers. Tethering a dog means that illness or painful conditions are rarely discovered early. The dogs will grow frustrated from isolation, insufficient exercise, and the inability to escape from ill-intentioned people or animals. Studies have shown that chained dogs are more prone to bite and or kill than untethered dogs. When dogs are left alone, they can become more aggressive towards other people and animals. This usually leads to the dog's owners wanting to get rid of them. This shows that there is a cycle to the dog's abandonment. If the dog is abandoned outside and left alone, where they have no interaction and learn no manners, their owners will want to get rid of them. This is where dog rescue organizations come in. They rescue the dog, provide medical care, and finally they will facilitate foster care and adoption. The next step for dogs is foster care. This is the area where most rescue organizations need help. Many rescue organizations have the funds and ability to find, rescue, and provide medical care for the dogs. However, they lack volunteers to foster them. When a dog is rescued, a rescue organization will place the dog in a foster home. These homes are run by volunteers. The number of dogs in a foster home that a foster home can house at a time is dependent upon the foster home. Many foster homes will have their own dogs that can help train the new fosters. Many homes will have a schedule for the dogs. It's very helpful to have a schedule and a routine so that the dogs have an easier time adjusting to their new home. Another thing that many rescue organizations look for in possible foster homes is dog experience, especially with the breed that the dog rescue deals with. When I asked one of my interviewees about what the best part of being a dog foster was, she replied that she enjoyed watching the dogs grow and reveal their personalities, knowing that she played an important role in the dogs' lives, that it creates connection. Another one of my interviewees, Denise Sivitz-Yoder, a foster for dogs from the Midwest Boston Terrier Rescue, offered her explanation as to why she became a dog foster, saying that having worked with the Humane Society for years helping dogs, she opened her home to dogs in need to help them find their way. Denise said her favorite part about being a dog foster was that she was able to help rehabilitate dogs in need by training them and preparing them for a new home. This leads to the final step of the dog rescue process, adoption. When a dog is placed in a foster home, typically it is put up for adoption, which means that the first step, which is the final step for the dogs in this process. When a family finds a dog that they want to adopt, there is a process that must be followed. This process involves applying for adoption, talking to the rescue group, receiving an in-home evaluation, and finally meeting the dog. There is usually a waiting list that applicants are placed on for most dogs, meaning that a family may have to wait for a while to receive an answer as to whether or not they are eligible to adopt. When meeting a new dog, a family will either go to the foster home that the dog is at, or someone from the rescue will bring the dog to them. This step is probably the most important part of the adoption process, as it determines if the family is compatible with the dog. If the family interested in adopting a dog has another dog, this current pet will be brought to the evaluation to determine compatibility. When a family arrives, the foster will generally be able to see if there is a connection between the family and the dog. Some dogs have certain requirements for a new home, such as no other animals or young children. Some dogs need experience with someone needs someone with experience of a dog of the same breed. The rescue group will often talk to a family that has already adopted through this same rescue and has experience before talking to new families. This will ensure that the dog is placed in the best home for it. Another way dogs are adopted is when a foster volunteer decides to adopt them. This has happened to many fosters. Diane Beck, Denise Sivitz-Yoder, Erica Mesh-Taika, and Rachel Johns are all examples of dog fosters who have adopted dogs that they fostered. When a family is looking to adopt a dog, there's an in-home evaluation done by the rescue group. This is done to ensure that the home is dog-friendly and safe for the dog. Once the dog is determined to be compatible with the family, the dog is ready to go home with their new family. After the family finishes signing paperwork, the dog is released to go home. When the newly adopted dog leaves, the foster home can bring in a new dog and continue the process of another dog rescue. The world of dog rescue organizations involves many different aspects. The most important and the best part of dog rescue is when a dog is found that was broken, neglected, and abused, and is given a new home and a place where it is truly loved, as it should be. The reason dog rescue organizations are so phenomenal is because they find and take broken dogs and give them a brand new hope and a new salvation. For my product, I chose to do two parts. I started by going with my mentor to help walk foster dogs from the Buster Foundation Pit Bull Rescue. I had a lot of fun walking these dogs. The second part of my product involved going to the Novi Pet Expo with my mentor to help with the booth for the Buster Foundation. I spent my day from about 9:30 in the morning to 5 in the evening working with the Buster Foundation. I learned a lot about the fundraising process of dog rescue. There were many applicants for some of the dogs that the rescue had up for adoption. In conclusion, there are many dogs in the world that are abused, abandoned, and unloved. Dog rescue organizations are the heroes that these dogs need. The process of dog rescue involves finding and rescuing dogs that have been abused and abandoned, providing the necessary medical needs and rehabilitation, and facilitating foster care and adoption. There are many ways that dog rescue organizations help dogs. This means that the organizations also need help for them to keep doing their amazing work. Some ways people can help can include donating dog beds, food, leashes, collars, treats, and toys to dog rescue groups. Many groups have the option to donate money on their websites. Other ways include volunteering to help with fundraising or adoption events, volunteering to become a dog foster, and even adopting rescue dogs. Finally, I would like to say that without these rescue groups, many dogs would have no hope. Rescue groups are true heroes. Thank you. First, I would like to thank God for giving me the strength that I needed to do this project and for creating these amazing animals like dogs. I would like to thank my teachers, Mrs. Swafield and Mrs. Webb, for guiding us through this project and providing all their help. I would like to thank my mentor, Diane Beck, for everything that she has done for me throughout this project and for providing her time and expertise on this topic and for keeping my hair in such excellent shape. For those of you who don't know, Diane is my hairstylist. That's why it looks so good. Thank you, Diane. I would like to thank all of my wonderful interviewees for all of the information that they provided to me. I could not have done this project without you. I would like to thank my classmates for encouraging me and making me laugh throughout this entire project. You guys are great. My PowerPoint partner, Elijah, for keeping my slides in time. Thanks, buddy. You're the best. My parents for helping me with my poster and the rest of this project and for sacrificing all the time that they put into this to help me. My big sister, Amelia, for her expertise in Miss Swafield's style research papers and for encouraging me throughout everything. Finally, I would like to thank the Buster Foundation Dog Rescue and the Midwest Boston Terrier Rescue for the amazing work that they do. Thank you. Are there any questions? Kaylin. I chose this topic. Well, she asked, why did I choose this topic? I chose this topic because my family has had rescue dogs pretty much all of my life, and I really love dogs. I love my dogs, and this topic really interested me. And at first, I didn't realize that I might want to volunteer or help more with rescue, but doing this whole project has really showed me that I enjoy helping dogs in any way. George. Post-senior project. So George asked, how will I take this information and apply it to my life post-senior project? I think it would be really cool, personally, for me to be able to do more volunteer with rescue groups, because after doing this project, I found that really just makes me happy to be able to see dogs, just to see how they're helped. What was that? To see how dogs are helped through the rescue process. So there's one way, George. Thanks for that question. Bryce. He asked, what's my favorite breed of dog? Personally, I would say I'm probably biased because I have had Boston Terriers all of my life. But other than that, I have to say a Husky. I love Huskies. They're great. So, yes. She asked, will I continue to volunteer at, rescue shelters? That really depends. I would love to, honestly. That's something I would really love doing, but that really just depends on where God is taking me. Sebastian. He asked, do I like cats too? Cats are great. No. No cats. Sorry. Anyone else? Tyler. He asked what my favorite part about doing this project was. Probably my product. I got to spend a whole day with dogs. Who doesn't want to spend their whole day with dogs? Dogs are great. I mean, unless you're Sebastian and you like cats, then that's you, buddy. I don't care. But I got to spend my whole day with dogs. That's great. And I got to help dogs. I got to see what it's like for rescue groups to spend their days with dogs. I mean, I'd love to do that. Anytime. Anytime anyone... Diane, if you got another thing for me to do, just let me know. Anyone else? Isabel. The names. She asked, what are the names of my dogs? That's classified information. No, I'm kidding. My dog's names, I have two dogs. One of them's name is Winston. He's crazy. The other one is Ziva. She's deaf. Anyone else? Alright, thank you.
Anderson. Anderson.